We have quite quite the smorgasbord of options for the vote that we can take. First off, there's the question as put forward to us, and then there's also the method in which the vote is tallied. And I've just confirmed that we are live streaming once again. Nicole, if you could just put that link in the chat, but I believe that it is back on our YouTube page, Métis Nation British Columbia. So the motion that we have in front of us actually has two options in front of us that remain or withdraw. We can handle that by a motion to amend to pick one of the one of the options and then have a vote on the remaining option if you agree or not. We can also take a vote where we vote on the essence of the motion by saying, by having your vote cast either as stay or withdraw, right? Or something to that effect to say that, you're making one choice one way or another. So there's options like that. The other piece too is that because this is not a matter that is amending our constitution or our legislation, we have the ability to do this by a poll vote, but we can also take a roll call vote as well if the assembly wishes. So we have a lot of options. So I think that maybe we talk about the option in which we do the vote, whether we want to do a roll call vote or a poll vote, and then we can talk about how we want to actually handle the vote for the question.
Before that happens, I gotta go to the washroom really bad. So give me a minute.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And who was saying that they love the smorgasbord? It looks like is that Jeff? It must be coming lunchtime. What I'm going to suggest, given those options, and just to do it the fastest way, we will make a poll to decide whether or not we're going by poll or roll call. And we'll kind of keep it straightforward, hopefully. And I do see President Aller, so please go ahead and raise your hand. Or
Yeah,
sorry,
hi. I'm just wondering if any members have the option of going on the record if we do a poll vote.
Okay. Thank you for that question. If it does a poll call, then what will happen is it won't show on the live stream, but on the back end, it does save who in each individual how each individual voter voted. So that information would be there. It just wouldn't be necessarily public, certainly not on the live stream.
Okay, well, I'll be voting to leave. Thanks for your answer, Chair.
Thank you. So once Nicole's ready, we'll put the poll on. This is to decide how we're going to vote, if it's going to be by poll or by roll call. So once it's ready, and we'll just go by the majority on that. So this is deciding how we wish to vote on motion number one. So please enter your selection, and then we'll proceed by voting given the way the election goes. All right, we'll just give it another 30 seconds and then we'll stop the clock.
If you're talking to us, you're muted, Dave.
Thank you. No, I was talking with Nicole, but yeah, thank you. All right, I'll go. Then we'll stop the vote there. And Jamie, I did record that. Go ahead, Nicole. Do we?
Yeah, so it was 60% in favor for the poll and 40% for roll call.
Thank you very much. So what we'll do then is we'll prepare the poll. It'll give 3 options. It'll have remain, withdraw, and abstain. So once that's prepared, we'll get it up.
Yep. Oh, thanks.
Do you have a question, President Crozier?
Just a quick thing just to say that I'd like the record to show that Rocky Mountain Métis Association is putting our vote in to withdraw from the MNC.
Thank you. Go ahead, President Wingham.
Yes, I'd also like to put that on the record that Wichita Métis Society will be withdrawing from the MNC as well.
Thank you. And given the nature of the vote, I will invite at this point, if there are any communities or presidents wishing to have that noted publicly, feel free to go ahead, and I'll just recognize as we go ahead while we're preparing this. President Minot.
Yeah, I would also like to put on public record that I am voting in favor of withdrawing from the MNC.
Thank you. President Caron.
VDMA community members have chosen to stay. I personally want it noted that if I was voting, I would leave.
Thank you very much. President Graham.
Yes, please put it on record. Alberni Clay-Quit votes to leave MNC.
Thank you. Before I get to the next hands, what we'll do is we'll open the poll. People can enter the official votes, and I will continue to recognize speakers if they're wishing to put it on the record or on the live stream. So go ahead and enter your vote through the poll, but I will turn next to Alana Copeland. President Copeland?
Sorry, please put it on record that Fort St. John Métis Society will be voting to leave the MNC.
Thank you very much. Director Harriet.
I think it's interesting. I feel like there's a majority that want to be on record, so I'm wondering why we're doing a poll instead of a roll call. But you know, I want to be transparent that I am voting to leave the Métis National Council.
Thank you. President Anderson?
I too am voting on behalf of my community that we will be leaving the Métis National Council.
Thank you very much. Vice Chairperson Rogers?
Thank you. Hi. I'd like it to be put on record that the Métis Youth Committee will be leaving.
Thank you very much. Director Lovely.
I'd like it on record that I am supportive of leaving MNC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. President Dodman.
Kelowna Métis Association be on record that we agreed to leave MNC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Leader Lewis.
On the record, Cowichan Valley Métis, Richard Lewis will be voting to leave MNC.
Thank you. President Byrd.
Métis Nation Greater Victoria votes to stay for now.
Thank you very much. President Adams.
Mikisew Métis will be voting to leave the MNC.
Thank you very much. President Stanwood.
Yes, North Fraser Métis Association will be voting to leave MNC. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Finlayson.
I'm going on record to say for Golden Ears Métis Society that I voted to leave MNC.
Thank you very much. President Adam.
I just want to put on record that the Vermilion Forks Métis Association is voting to leave the MNC.
Thank you. Vice President Allard.
For transparency, I just want to let you know that I voted to leave the MNC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. President Fisher. Or sorry, Director Fisher.
I wanted on record that I have voted to leave MNC.
Thank you. Women's Chairperson Carrier.
Yes, please on record that I have, and on behalf of the MWBC Council, voted to leave the MNC. And the MWBC Council wishes to also assert that we hope that there is collaboration with our kin across the homeland moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Director Gervais.
Yes, for the record, I just want to leave MNC. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. President Bremner.
For the record, on behalf of the Mid-Island Métis Nation, the majority of those I had spoken to, I'm voting to leave.
Thank you. President Wells.
On behalf of the Fraser Valley Métis Association, not on behalf of myself, but on behalf of the Fraser Valley Métis Association, we abstain from this vote.
Thank you. President Keith.
South Okanagan Snoqualmie Métis Association on record votes to leave the MNC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. President DeRocher.
Prince George Métis Community Association. On behalf of my board, we will stay for now.
Thank you very much. President Swears.
Hi, on behalf of the Cariboo-Chilcotin Métis Association, we have been long awaiting this vote and we vote in favor of leaving.
Thank you very much. President Lever.
It's Vice President.
My apologies.
That's okay. North Island Métis will be voting to leave MNC.
Thank you very much. Vice President Crelo.
The Surrey Delta Métis Association has abstained from voting.
Thank you very much. President Corson.
On behalf of the West Kootenay Métis Society, given the information brought forward, we are voting to leave the MNC.
Thank you very much. Not seeing any further hands, and I think we have all the votes in. I will turn it over to Mr. Beaker for the final results.
So we have 45 delegates present. Of the votes cast, as you can see, 3 were cast to remain with the MNC, 39 to leave, and 3 abstentions. The motion to leave the Métis National Council is passed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beaker, and thank everyone for your patience and your thoughtful discussions this morning on such an important topic. It is just coming to 12:30 Pacific, 1:30 Mountain. We're going to take 1 hour for lunch, and we will return. And when we return, we will start right away with Resolution 3 once we have quorum established. So everyone have a good lunch, and we'll see you shortly.
There's already been a press release. Press release, yeah, about MNBC leaving. Oh, odd.
Ron, your mic is still on.
Hello, everyone. I think we'll just be getting back here. And in a moment, I'll turn it over to Mr. Beaker. We'll go through the roll call for quorum. Mr. Beaker, whenever you're ready.
Well, I am ready. So we'll start alphabetically at the top. Dylan Adam.
Here.
Tom Adams.
Here.
David Allard.
Here.
Melanie Allard. Vice President Allard. Rob Anderson.
Present.
Caitlin Bird.
Present.
Joy Bremner.
Here.
Zev Brewer. Topher Burke.
Present.
Ron Karan. Carmen Carrier.
Sorry, I am Ron Karan for now. This is Jacqueline Sanger, the Vice President for VDMA.
Okay. Thank you. Carmen Carrier.
I am here.
Bernadette Chaboyer.
Present, John.
Alana Copeland.
Here.
Nicole Corson.
Present.
Jeff Crozier.
Hello.
Betty Deck.
Here.
Sylvia DeRocher.
Here.
Cheryl Dodman. Cheryl Dodman. Mark DeBoard. Kim Finlayson.
Present. Sorry.
Oh, there you are, Mark. Kim Finlayson.
Here.
Deborah Fisher.
Present.
Paulette Flamond.
Here.
Rainey Gervais. Rainey? Dean Gladue.
Present.
June Graham.
Present.
Patrick Harriet.
Present.
Susie Hooper.
Present.
Travis Jobin.
Present.
Jamie Lee Keith.
Present.
Anthony Crelo.
Present.
Peter Lang.
Present.
Alan Lavalley.
Present.
Charlotte Lever.
Present.
Richard Lewis.
Present.
Betty Ann McDonnell.
Present.
Walter Minult.
Present.
Vanessa Mueller.
Present.
Val Pace. Jaden Rogers.
Earlier Val's speaker wasn't working. She couldn't get hers to work or her hand to go up when she wanted to talk, so.
Hey, John.
Hi, Rainey.
Hey, present.
Jaden Rogers. I don't see Jaden. Mert Servatius.
I'm here.
Dana Shaw. No, I don't think we had Dana earlier. Greg Stanwood. Marlene Swears.
Here.
Pixie Wells,
Present.
Anthony Wingham.
Here.
I see Cheryl Dodman's hand.
Thank you.
Is there anyone present whose name I did not call or who did not answer?
Melanie Allard.
Anyone else? Zev. There you are. Anyone else?
Greg here.
Oh, Greg, there you are. Excellent. All right, we do have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone had a good little break, lunch or whatever. We are moving right on to resolution number 3, and I will turn it over to Mr. Beaker.
Thank you. A quick note on this resolution, over the lunch break, the deputy clerk and I found that there was a piece that needed to be added into the be it resolved section, because this resolution would require the Constitution to be amended as well as the MNGA Act, and we missed that at the beginning. So I will read it out as we have it on the screen, and then look to the mover to consent to the addition. The addition is to add into the Constitution what they are looking to add into the MNGA Act as well. So we have Resolution 3 submitted to the December 2024 Métis Nation Governing Assembly. The subject is community representation at the MNGA. Legislation affected will be the MNGA Act and the Constitution, submitted by Cowichan Valley Métis Association to the MNGA clerk on October 16th, 2024, and it requires a 75% vote to pass. Whereas it is critical for the MNGA's governing structure to have charter community representation present to conduct business and safeguard engagement in decision-making processes. Article 3.2 of the MNGA Act allows for a community vice president to attend the MNGA when the community president is unable to. When neither the president nor the vice president are able to attend an MNGA, the community has no representation since no one else may attend the MNGA on behalf of the community. Be it resolved that the following be added as a new sub-article A to Article 3.2 of the MNGA Act. Subarticle A, in the event that neither the president nor the vice president can attend the MNGA, the community board may, by resolution, appoint an elected board member to attend, provided that they are an MNBC citizen and over the age 18. The community shall notify the MNGA clerk or designate as far in advance as possible of the meeting. And the board member serving as an alternate must make a declaration with the MNGA clerk or its designate affirming that they are not in a conflict of interest as per Article 2.8 of the MNGA Act. And then the underlined text be added to Article 29.1 of the Constitution as set out below. Article 29.1 reading, in the event a community president is unable to attend a general assembly, the community's vice president may represent that community. In the event that neither the president nor the vice president can attend the MNGA, the community board may, by resolution, appoint an elected board member to attend, provided that they are an MNBC citizen and over the age of 18.
Thank you very much. I will look for a mover and seconder, and I'll perhaps look for Leader Lewis to start us.
Richard Lewis, Cowichan Valley Métis. I so move.
Thank you. And just before I get to a seconder, there's no issues with adding in the to correct.
No, there is no issue, and I'm glad somebody found that out and pointed it out. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I'll recognize President Keith.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. So Resolution 3 is before the Assembly, and I'll invite Leader Lewis to speak to it. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This resolution is being put forward because there's nothing in our system right now that allows for this type of thing in case the president and the vice president is not able to attend. We always need the representation of a community and a voice, and I like to think that it's actually straightforward. I know other areas in our legislation allows for other programs or the youth and whatnot to have somebody else go in their place. So this is the reason behind this, just in case, it's not to say that it's going to be done all the time, but it allows for that. If this issue does arise, it allows us to be able to have voice and representation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll invite President Keith if you wish to speak to it.
Yeah, it's ironic that this would be before us because earlier, when we were discussing which order we would address which motions, there was a leader texting me panicking that they thought that they wouldn't be able to hear the MNC motion if it was going to be moved third. And they were saying that their VP couldn't make it and that their community's voice wasn't going to be heard because they had other things to do today later in the afternoon. There's intense pressure put on presidents to show up because if they don't and their backup can't do it, then the community's voice is completely stricken. I like the wording on here in that it's strict to say that it's only if they can't make it. So the power to attend always is with a president or vice president. I think this just gives us more options. And for me personally, I would like to send other board members to help get them engaged. And at times, sometimes I look at what's slated for the MNGA and I'm going to say it, sometimes it's a little boring and a little dry and I don't feel like I need to be there and there's nothing super pressing. And I encourage MNBC to keep consulting with us on interesting matters like the MNC decision because it keeps things fresh. But if it's nothing pressing, then I'd like to send someone else in my stead. But yeah, I just think this gives us more options. And in case there's a community that's not very active, it's not all the pressure on the president to attend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Keith. President Lang, please go ahead.
Yeah, I second everything that Jamie just said. And also, I would say that it's an opportunity for us as presidents to help develop future presidents that can take over. I have no intention of staying on as president after this term. And I would like to start developing somebody, and my vice might not actually be wanting to be the president. She might want to stay the vice. So I'm speaking in favor of this, and I'll be voting in favor of it.
Thank you very much. I did see earlier, I don't know if it was just a hand up and down. President Allard, did you wish to speak?
No, I'm good. Took my hand down. Thank you.
All right, thank you. President Byrd, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm speaking in favor of this as well for the reasons that President Lang mentioned. And also, the elder to our board has been around for quite some time in MNBC world and has a recollection that perhaps for our legislation was quite so restricted. This actually was available to communities in the past. So really, perhaps we are formalizing something that was a previous practice.
Thank you very much. President Wells, please go ahead.
I'm absolutely in favor of this decision. I've been in this position a couple of times where my vice president wasn't able to attend and maybe I wasn't able to attend and we knew that we couldn't send anybody else. So I ended up having to, unfortunately, not take on my real life duties to go and look after MNBC and the business of our nation. So I really like this idea, and I do second what Peter had to say as well, as that, our aspiring youth and our young people, it gives other people an opportunity to sit in these positions. So I think it's a fabulous addition to our governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Wells. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to Resolution 3?
Question.
Hearing question, and we have at least 5 speakers. I'm not seeing anyone wanting to jump up. Perfect. So we will proceed to the roll call vote. This will be by roll call. It will require 75%, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Beaker for that purpose.
Thank you, and we'll start with calling the roll in reverse alphabetical order. And just a quick reminder to the MNGA, with the changes to the MNGA Act that were enacted at the last AGM, an abstention vote is treated as a null vote. It's the same as if you were not present, so it does not have any impact on the vote itself. So to clarify, we cleared that up, and we'll start, as I said, reverse alphabetical order. Anthony Wingham,
Yes, I am for it.
Pixie Wells,
Super excited. Bingo, go.
Marlene Swears,
In favor?
Greg Stanwood,
Yes, in favor.
Mert Servatius, Mert Servatius.
In favor.
There we are. Jaden Rogers,
In favor.
Vanessa Mueller,
In favor.
Walter Minalt,
In favor.
Betty Ann McDonnell,
In favor.
Richard Lewis,
Favor.
Charlotte Lever,
Favor.
Alan Lavalley,
In favor.
Peter Lang,
In favor.
Anthony Creelo,
In favor.
Jamie Lee Keith,
In favor.
Travis Jobin,
In favor.
Susie Hooper,
In favor.
Patrick Harriet,
In favor.
June Graham,
In favor.
Dean Gladue,
In favor.
Rainey Gervais,
In favor.
Paulette Flamond,
In favor.
Deborah Fisher,
In favor.
Kim Finlayson,
In favor.
Mark DeBoard,
Favor.
Cheryl Dodman,
In favor.
Sylvia DeRocher,
In favor.
Betty Deck,
In favor.
Jeff Crozier,
In favor.
Nicole Corson,
In favor.
Alana Copeland,
In favor.
Bernadette Chaboyer,
In favor.
Carmen Carrier,
In favor.
Topher Burke,
In favor.
Zev Brewer,
In favor.
Joy Bremner,
In favor.
Caitlin Bird,
In favor.
Rob Anderson,
Absolutely in favor.
Melanie Allard,
In favor.
David Allard,
In favor.
Tom Adams,
In favor.
Dylan Adam.
In favor.
Is there anyone present whose name I did not call? Jacqueline Sanger.
Oh, thank you. In favor.
And sorry, Jacqueline, your surname is Senger, yes?
That's correct. Yeah.
Excellent. Anyone else who I didn't call who is present? Okay, this passes unanimously.
I'm gonna say I could do the math on that one. 75%, we're well over. Thank you very much. Before we get to moving right on to resolution, I guess 2, I'll recognize Leader Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to all the communities for allowing us to put this one first. I'm afraid I have to jump off. We have our annual Christmas gathering, and not that I'm the life of the party, but I'm sure I'll be sorely missed. So I thank everybody for this opportunity to have our resolution put forward, and thank you for all the good work. And I apologize for having to leave, but in this situation, our president, any of our directors, and myself are away. So take care and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You'll be sorely missed here, but go enjoy your gathering with the community. All right. So moving along, we are next at resolution 1. And I will turn it over once again to Mr. Beaker.
Resolution 1, submitted to the 2024 Winter Métis Nation Governing Assembly. The subject is MNGA Governance Committee membership. Does not affect legislation. Submitted by the MNGA Governance Committee to the clerk on October 24th, 2024. Requires a majority to adopt. Whereas the MNGA Governance Committee was created by the MNGA in 2023 to review the governance and decision-making structures within MNBC and the MNGA. The current membership includes representatives from the MNBC board, regional representatives appointed by the regional governance councils, and representatives from Métis Women BC and Métis Youth BC. The 2S LGBTQIA+ Provincial Governance Council was created at the 2024 MNBC Annual General Meeting, and all governance entities of MNBC should have an opportunity to provide input into governance processes. Be it resolved that the MNGA change the membership of the MNGA Governance Committee by adding one MNBC citizen member designated by the 2S LGBTQIA+ Provincial Governance Council. Subject to approval of A above, the words 2S LGBTQIA+ Provincial Governance Council be added to the appointment section of the MNGA Governance Committee terms of reference, following the words committees, so it shall read as follows. The respective regional governance councils, the MWBC and MYBC provincial committees, the 2S LGBTQIA+ Provincial Governance Council, and the Board of Directors will select their representative to the MNGA Governance Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Beaker. Do I have a mover and a seconder for resolution number 1? President Byrd?
Yeah, I move.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second. Pixie Wells, Fraserville Métis Association.
Thank you, President Wells. And I'll invite President Byrd to speak to resolution 1.
I feel like this is fairly self-explanatory and more along the lines of housekeeping, but just ensuring that we are updating our MNGA Governance Committee membership to reflect the recent passing of the 2S LGBTQI+ Provincial Governance Council that happened at our last AGM.
Thank you very much. President Wells, did you wish to add anything?
No, I think Caitlin said pretty much everything I was going to say. It's just housekeeping.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any discussion? Don't jump up all at once, please. All right, I'm not seeing any discussion. To be honest, I was waiting for President Crozier to jump in and call question, but
Question, sorry.
He's having trouble finding the unmute button, I guess. I'm not seeing any further hands for discussion. I'll just give it a quick second in case anyone was having difficulties. Otherwise, we will just proceed with the vote. We can proceed on this one. Oh no, this has to be a roll call because it's a resolution. Sorry, just a moment. We will proceed. This one is not affecting any of the legislation, so we'll be able to proceed by poll, and we're just going to have Nicole's going to finish drafting that up and posting it, and once she's ready. While we're waiting, President Wells, go ahead.
I just have a quick question. Could we not just go by unanimous consent? Like, could we not just all show our hands, or if you have somebody that wants to?
You know what?
Not agree?
We can do that. It's after the last discussion, I wasn't sure we'd get it, so it's out of my my practice all of a sudden. Yes, let's try going that way. I'll look for unanimous consent. I do see a hand up, President Keith. Is that objection to proceeding by way of unanimous consent?
No, sorry, I thought I had to put my hand up for consent.
No. Otherwise, it'll be I have to go through all of them to find out. It's is there anyone who objects to the adoption of resolution number 1? I'm not seeing any objection. Just give it a quick second. Thank you, everyone. Resolution passes by unanimous consent. Thank you very much, President Wells, for the suggestion. We will move along to resolution number 2, and I will again turn it over to our clerk, Mr. Beaker.
Resolution number 2 submitted to the 2024 Winter Métis Nation Governing Assembly. The subject is extension of timeline for report back by MNGA Governance Committee. It does not affect any legislation. Submitted by the MNGA Governance Committee to the clerk on October 24th, 2024. Requires a majority vote to adopt. Whereas at the June 2023 MNGA, the Assembly requested the MNGA Governance Committee to take the actions outlined in the resolution attached as Appendix A with a report back to the MNGA for the March-Spring 2025 MNGA. The MNGA Governance Committee has been working on other urgent matters, including a substantial revision to the MNGA Act, including enhancing the processes for conflict of interest, as well as approving funding models and other matters referred to them by the MNGA. At its meeting in October 2024, the MNGA Governance Committee decided that not enough time remains to conduct a meaningful consultation with citizens for a report back in spring 2025. Be it resolved that Part C of the previously adopted resolution attached in Appendix A be amended by striking out March 2025 and inserting spring 2026 in its place. So it will then read, if you refer to your appendix, be it resolved that the number C, this report with any recommendations from the MNGA Governance Committee be presented at the spring 2026 MNGA. That is the proposed amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baker. I will look for a mover and a seconder, and I will recognize the hand I see. President Allard, please go ahead.
Yeah, I move this, and I wonder if we can, is the appendix available? Appendix A?
Yes, we'll be able to switch over to that. And I'll look for a seconder at this point while we're waiting for that. President Byrd?
Yeah, I second.
Thank you very much. So once it's up, here's Appendix A up here, and I will invite President Allard to speak.
Yeah, thank you. I brought this up as a reminder to a recent committee meeting we had. We were on hiatus during the election period, and the committee is back at work. This here, I think, is important. The MNGA has requested this, has required this process to happen, despite having many issues to deal with and urgent issues as well, such as a conflict of interest resolution that the committee dealt with. Once this was passed, it would seem quite obvious that it was and is up to MNBC to spearhead the consultation process and not have the committee members be involved at the beginning of this process. So I understand we were busy, but it's ultimately not up to us to spearhead that part of the process. So I brought it up as a reminder, and I hope we can, MNBC can move forward with this extensive consultation process, which is in this Appendix A resolution. There are some related topics that are timely these days in regards to governance, and I know that many citizens would like to, and leaders as well, would like to speak to this and be involved in this consultation process. And I believe it should include having a look at the role of the purpose, the role and the purpose and the execution of the Senate amongst other governing bodies there. So I think it's quite important. Thank you very much. I support this, obviously.
Thank you very much. President Byrd.
Yeah, I would just add that, as was mentioned in the whereas sections, we were initially given approximately 2 years to do this work, and then we've had many other things added to the plate that have come sooner and quicker, just based on priority. And so we just are requesting a bit more time to complete what was asked of us.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to Resolution 2?
Question.
Oh,
I was just about to do that, Susie.
Hey now, that was.
I was looking for the over/under on how much time it would take Mr. Crozier to jump in there, but Looks like he was beat twice over in this round. Not seeing any hands going up. Certainly makes sense. The comments regarding the time, and certainly I've been a part of the last number of MNGAs and AGMs where certainly more and more keeps getting added to the committee's plate. So certainly makes a lot of sense. But that's obviously up to the assembly. Not seeing any further discussion. We will proceed again. Thank you, President Wells, for the reminder after lunch here. See if we can proceed by way of unanimous consent. Is there any objection to the passing of Resolution 2, which is changing that Part C of the appendix from March 2025 to spring 2026? If there's any objection, please use the raise hand function. Give it another quick second. All right, seeing no objection, it passes by unanimous consent. Thank you very much, everyone. That means we are on our last item, at least for today, resolution number 4. And I will once again turn it over to Mr. Beaker.
Okay, resolution number 4, submitted to 2024 Winter Métis Nation Governing Assembly. The subject is AGM voting expansion and inclusivity. Legislation affected would be the MPCBC bylaws and the Constitution. Submitted by the Two Rivers Métis Society to the clerk on October 20th, 2024. Requires a 3/4 vote to adopt. Whereas the 2024 general election of Métis Nation British Columbia saw 12.1% voter turnout, with 2,661 ballots cast from a voting population of 22,000, with the assistance of mail-in and electronic ballot voting. At the 2024 AGM, between 99 to 170 votes were collected per resolution from both in-person and virtual participants in attendance, or approximately 0.4 to 0.8% of the citizens eligible to vote at the AGM participating. MNBC sponsors 2 citizens per charter community, 7 senators, and 11 board members, 12 following the election of the 2 LGBTQIA+ provincial chairperson, and the 7 regional representatives from MWBC, MYBC, and the 2 LGBTQIA+ following their election to attend the AGM, for a minimum of 118 sponsored attendees, not including MNBC staff who may be citizens. The established process under which business is conducted and resolutions are voted on at annual general meetings does not provide flexibility for citizens to participate. It is pivotal to ensure that the AGM is accessible for all citizens by reducing attendance barriers to support flexible participation in MNBC's democracy. Be it resolved that the Constitution be amended as follows. A new Article 71 to be inserted under the section of annual general meeting which states, resolutions considered at the annual general meeting shall be debated during the meeting, and the vote postponed to voted on by electronic means between 6 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. on the final day of the annual general meeting following adjournment. The article numbers impacted be renumbered accordingly. Further, that the MPCBC bylaws be amended as follows. Insert a new Article 3.11 as follows. 3.11, pursuant to Article 84 of the Societies Act, changes to legislation shall be conducted by an electronic ballot or voting system between 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 11:59 Pacific Time following the adjournment of the AGM or SGM, and renumber the bylaws accordingly.
Thank you very much. And I will look for a mover and seconder, and I believe this was brought by Two Rivers, or?
Yes, I'd like to motion.
Yes, so I'll recognize President DeBoard first, and do we have a seconder? And is that President Dodman?
Yes, I second that.
Thank you very much. I'll recognize President DeBoard. Please go ahead.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to bring this forward. The purpose of this resolution is to expand voting. This resolution is not a magic bullet, but is a step in the right direction. Amendments are to work the same during the AGM, while final voting is at the end. Democracy should not be made available to should be made available to as many people as possible, and barriers that reduce the ease of exercising this right should be eliminated. We have Métis families, individuals working, harvesting the land, and we do not make it easy for them. We saw during the election that if we make it easy for people, they will engage in our democracy. Even if you are listening on your phone while you're at a park with your young son, there's a short window at a random time during the day, which likely does not match the agenda, to stop what you're doing, unlock your phone, bring up the app, and vote. Some feedback is that we simply need to advertise about the AGM. To that I ask, when was the last time you watched C-SPAN for 14 hours? We can tell from the numbers that almost no one from any of our community boards are voting unless they are paid to attend, and these are the most engaged volunteers in our nation. AGMs are all business, boring, but that does not mean they are not important or that the people do not know that they are happening. The implication that in order to vote, the voter must put in equity or prove that they're educated is really just a form of voter suppression. There should be no obligation. We should not be governed by elites who know best. For those worried about those that cannot use a computer, well, if they are not in attendance, they cannot vote currently. I'm not sure that I know for a fact that all of us who attend the AGM would be more than willing to help them, resulting only in a net reduction of barriers. We need consistency in the time and method of voting. Let's accommodate our care aides, our hunters, our families, our people. Let's consolidate voting online at the end of the AGM. Thank you. Marcy.
Thank you very much, President DeBoard. I will next recognize President Dodman if you wish to speak to it.
Just reiterate what Mark did say, because life is so busy and our people, this would give them an opportunity to actually have their voice heard. Because like Mark said, it's a little hard to catch that small snippet of time when this particular item would be voted for, any item for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director Harriet.
Yeah, thank you. There's no doubt that we need to engage citizens more in the democratic process. I think we have come a long way in making it available online, and it's something that I advocated for in, I think, 2017 or 18 as a community president. I don't think that this is the method to engage more people. I really believe that democracy is participatory, and that means listening to the debates and being present and understanding all the subject matter that's being brought up, both pro and con. I think that we need to support communities in having, say, town halls. And when it comes to the assertion that it's a random time, we know well in advance when our AGM is going to be. What we need to do is engage our citizens and underline the importance of being there and participating in this democratic process in our nation building. So I really am strongly not in favor of this, but I do recognize that we need to increase engagement.
Thank you very much. Vice President Mueller, please.
Hi there. I'm wondering if it can't be amended. I think part of what I find a little bit disagreeable about this is that it would run until midnight. I know I've watched a lot of provincial or federal elections, and you don't know who's who in the zoo or what has happened until you wake up the next morning. Because I think too, when we were at the AGM and we passed the 2SL, like the resolution for the 2SL inclusion, the amount of feeling and joy and all of the emotion that was tied into that. And I think it would be a loss to not be able to have a finish for our work when we leave. So I'm wondering if does it have to be midnight? I can understand like it being a little bit later, especially if day 1, day 2, or on Saturday, but not necessarily on Sunday, so that we could leave the event finished. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come back, just given that you're the fourth speaker, and there may be others that are, and I'll come back if you mentioned perhaps amending or changing a time. But if you want to think about perhaps, Vice President Muir, where or what exactly you might wish to change or suggest as a change, and I'll get a couple more speakers, and then I'll come back to you if there's still a desire for a specific change that you're proposing. President Allard.
Yeah, hi, David Allard, Salmon Arm Métis Association. I agree wholeheartedly that the issues that this is trying to address, albeit in a small fashion, are extremely important. I've been quite vocal about this for a number of years, the lack of citizen engagement in our governance processes. It borders on apathy in my mind, which is quite unfortunate. That being said, I won't be supporting this. The more I look at it, the solution just seems to be counterintuitive. It just brings up more and more problems as to how would it even be equitably implemented, and even more so by having an extra 6 hours added to an AGM. How much of an impact would that have on engagement? I think the lack of engagement is based more on what this solution tries to propose. I think the root causes are way beyond just access. So I'll vote against this. But I do applaud the submitter for trying to address this very important issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. President Adam.
Yes, my community had some concerns with this resolution as well, as we also believe that it's important that the discussion at the AGM inform the vote, and separating this will have a negative impact. And we're also concerned about the vote being postponed to the evening of the final day, because that'll disadvantage delegates who are attending the AGM and traveling home that evening across the province. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I get to the next speaker, I'll just invite Mr. Beaker for comments, and then I'll get to President Keith. Mr. Beaker, please go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify for the resolution being proposed here is that the Societies Act requires that if you're going to be holding votes on matters during an AGM outside of when the AGM is held, you have to be clear as to when voting is available. The proposal here is not to have the AGM be in session for an evening. The AGM sessions and the discussions would continue much as we expect them, but the voting has to be open for a specific block of time if it's going to be outside the meeting. Based on some comments, we can change the times when the voting is open, but if you are going to allow voting outside the meeting, you have to say a time when it is open. So just to clarify that.
Thank you for that clarification. President Keith, please go ahead.
Yes, so as we will be voting against this, I think in general, from what I understand from my citizens, we've held MNGA nights and an AGM town hall in preparation for the MNBC AGM. And I guess a few of my citizens have said that it's sort of redundant because we already went over these topics at the AGM, or pardon me, at our MNGA night. And when I tell them, well, this is, yeah, except that was just me voting to represent you. This is you now voting to represent yourselves. I guess they see it as sort of redundant, and they feel they don't need to go to the AGM because they've already been represented. Maybe that's up to me as a leader to kind of iron out the differences between the MNGA and the AGM, but I don't think this will increase participation because of the root, I guess, in my community is why are we seeing it twice, and we don't want to amend it anymore. And, they're just not engaged because they, I guess, maybe see it more as a Western political method where they vote someone in to look at these nuances and research it and make an informed decision for them. And they find it redundant for them to come in and learn the ropes when I've done that already as best I can. So we will be voting against this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, President Keith. President Crozier.
Hello, so Jeff Crozier, Rocky Mountain Métis Association. I wanted to echo or just affirm what oh shoot. Well, David Allard said, and the First Minister. I am so sorry. Oh, I can't remember who it was. Patrick, I'm sorry, Patrick. My apologies. Okay. So yeah, as Patrick was stating, and as David even echoed and added to, I feel like we do our best to engage people. It's not necessarily an MNBC issue, but I do believe that it's a membership issue. That all of the information is always available. There's plenty of time. The AGM packets are online. There's always the information, and I think if as presidents we begin to maybe engage that information better and send it out to our membership and encourage our membership through either MailChimps or however we communicate with our association membership, then that would help. However, by limiting or laying things out the way they are in this resolution, I would have to vote against it. Although I like the intent of it. So that's my say on that.
Thank you very much. The next speaker I have on my list is President Minot.
You're on mute, Walter.
You're muted, President Minot.
Sorry about that.
There you
go. Yeah, I'm also going to have to speak against this resolution. It's always nice to be able to get more inclusion from all our citizens. We all strive to do that and do that better as we go. One of the biggest issues we have at MNBC and trying to get more inclusion of our citizens to be at these MNGAs is capacity. To find the dollars to be able to bring 500-600 people of our members in would be extremely expensive, and at this time, MNBC doesn't have those resources available to be able to do that. And in the future, we're hoping maybe one day we can. But one of the main worries I'm having about a resolution like this is it can be too easily manipulated. When resolutions come forward on the floor, then we can have certain groups out there on phones and getting people to vote on issues that they weren't aware of or they have no knowledge of, and to change a vote that they aren't satisfied with. So it's way too easily manipulated with this process. I think the vote needs to be on the floor. We try to make everybody available for everybody by putting it online to be able to come in on Zoom or however else they can contribute their voice to it. But right now, I can't support this process or this resolution. And can we have would everybody rather have we can see each other instead of this resolution on the screen?
We can.
Thank you.
Thank you. I next have President Byrd.
Thank you. Yeah, I've long had some conversations with folks about how we can increase AGM participation, and one that has been brought up most recently is having a space for young families and having a space for children to be so that their parents can be engaged and yet be there with their families as well. I will speak against this resolution for the fact that, as we saw this morning, being part of the discussion is so important in informing how we're going to vote. And so if people are missing the entire part of the discussion and just choosing to vote at the end, they miss all of that back and forth. And that is a really important part about having an informed vote at the AGMs. So I'll be speaking against this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I next have Director Fisher.
So I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry that our board meetings are boring. There's a lot of meetings that happen that we have to go to even get to where we are today. But I'm just going to share something that somebody said to me, because I it's not just a problem with MNBC, even at a federal level and a provincial level, unless it's a super hot topic. It's really about a citizen's choice or responsibility to get involved. But at the same time, interestingly, this summer, I had, during the election, I actually talked with a couple of people about why aren't you coming to meetings in my charter community or your charter community? And the comment was, well, I've been told that that's the reason why I voted in my charter community president and board. So, and the reason that I voted you guys in. And if I have a problem, I'm going to let you know. So, I'm assuming that, no news is good news then, as far as I'm concerned. And it's too bad, because I would love to see more people involved, particularly even at the charter community level. It's very hard. People have very, very busy lives. And so I kind of I've just had to say, okay, if I'm not hearing from people, I'm assuming everything's going okay.
Thank you, Director Fisher. President Copeland, please go ahead.
I'd like to speak against this also. We live so far away that when the AGM's over, we're scrambling for our flights to get to the airport and be able to work the next day. So then that's going to, because we're in the air, probably won't be able to vote if it's on our phones or whatever. So, I don't know. I don't think it'll work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Copeland. Vice Chairperson Rogers.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to bring up a couple of points on this. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes, go
awesome.
ahead.
So I do understand that our voting numbers are low and that it is an issue, but our citizens are busy, and they have other things in their lives other than the government, which is why we take this burden as their servants. And that's why they vote us to represent them. And so I actually have a bit of contention with the phrase that was used, such as governmental elites. I understand that this can exist, but I think we are all brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, and sons and daughters of the people that vote us, the people in our community. And so they trust us to represent them properly. And I think in particular to this bill, debating resolutions it's really important to hear that debate and make an educated decision. So for me, I have many times changed my mind after hearing our discussions in debate. And I would be very concerned about the lack of being able to hear the discussion or people voting without getting an idea of people's opinions and things that were not they might not know that were talked about that could change their mind and sway them. So I think that is the beauty of our current system, and I would like to see that stay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are all the hands I saw, and I'm going to turn back now to Vice President Mueller. If you wished to still bring any kind of amendment that you're thinking of, and what that amendment might look like if you were.
Hi. Well, I understand the principle of the bill and trying to maximize engagement and reduce barriers. And I also get the other end of it where we want resolutions to be finished by the end of the AGM. I would propose the amendment that if we were to maybe have a few voting days where people can vote on the resolutions online prior to the AGM. So they'd have to register to be voters, to be a voting member. So it would be less likely to be abused as the president suggested. Because then if they were voting prior to it and people spoke against it in the AGM, and in terms of sway, it would have less sway, but then we'd still have those times open for the engagement, rather than having voting the days of go to midnight.
Yes, the concern, I think, and I see it a couple of things, because there's amendments on the floor, and that's where the amendments take place. We wouldn't be able to vote prior to. So it would be a question of, as what's proposed in Resolution 4 of us, and as commented by Mr. Beaker, given the requirements of the Societies Act, there has to be a block of period that would come, if it's outside of the meeting, it would have to be a set block period of time. So for example, instead of 6 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. on that final day, it could be that within that week, whatever, as long as it's a blocked time, but it wouldn't be able to go ahead of the meeting, because the resolutions, by the time they go through on the floor, they will likely have changed.
But could we keep voting for the resolutions open for the period of the AGM? Like, instead of being online at that specific moment to vote on that issue, if you've been registered beforehand to be a voter, and you could go online and vote when you have time, is that a possibility?
Like, just have a moment. Thank you for your patience. In order to do something like what Vice President Mueller is proposing, is if we've got it in front of us, no, sorry, that's right, we'll get it back. So it would be basically amending resolution the 71 from the Constitution, saying that resolutions considered at the annual general meeting shall be debated during the meeting, and the votes allowed. I think we could buy electronic means until, like, basically you'd create an endpoint of when a vote would be. So what in effect would be, we might call a vote on the resolution at the AGM, and people present could vote, and then, or if you weren't present, but you would have until 11:59 or whatever time that's chosen to enter your vote. So it would basically, we would cease discussion, question would be called, and that question wouldn't be closed until 11:59, and any and all votes would be counted between there. And now again, some of the concerns that are raised, people might not have seen or heard the discussion, but that vote would be open until that time. That would be, is that capturing kind of what you're suggesting, Vice President Mueller?
I think that it would maybe need to reflect, like, it's hard to put and this is about the bylaws, I guess, it's hard to put an actual time on when the AGM would end. Like, if it was able to be worded until the call of the last resolution or something like that. It's just, I don't like the midnight after the AGM is ended before we know what the answers are. That is,
yeah, in this case, we wouldn't know until the
would
morning.
be no.
Yeah, we wouldn't know until at least 11, well, basically midnight, and then votes would be tabulated for every single resolution. Again,
Yeah.
What's required is having an end point so that it's a clear block of time. And so if there's issue with the ending at 11:59, that could be changed by either moving that period of time forward or going into the next day. However, it might be suggested. That's certainly up to the assembly.
I think that it needs more work. Like, I think the presence behind this resolution is really good. It's ways to increase, but I just don't think I like the way it's worded at this point. So I think I'll be voting no.
Okay, so what I would suggest then, given your comments there, we're not going to be looking at an amendment to the resolution. We'll bring it straight
Agreed.
back to the resolution as moved by President DeBoard, and we'll proceed once we get to a vote call on that. Thank you. I have a couple of people have their hands up. Before I get to you, President DeBoard, I will first turn to Vice President Finlayson.
Yeah, I just I think it's really important that if people are going to vote, that they are in the meeting and discussion, because I find that the discussions help explain what you're voting on, and everyone gives different perspectives. So I'm like concerned about just having people be able to vote just because they registered to vote when they don't know what they're voting about, maybe more specifically.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, President DeBoer.
Not possible, I'll let Alana speak first.
Sure, I was actually going to say, I don't know if that's a stale hand from before. I know it looks like looks like it's down. Go ahead. President Copeland, were you wishing to speak?
Yeah, I would. I wonder if it's possible during the meeting, if we can't let people vote during the meeting, during the questions, so that they are obviously watching on the computer and are engaged in the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, we would have to be at the end of any kind of discussion because the potential resolution or whatever they're voting on might end up changing until we're at the end of that. I'll recognize Mr. Beaker. Do you wish to comment?
Yeah, and I was actually hoping to get clarification from President Copeland on that. Were you suggesting that we have voting open on resolutions like for the length of the entire AGM, and then when discussion is done on a resolution, instead of taking a vote immediately, people would be able to vote on that resolution and any subsequent resolutions up until when the AGM adjourns?
No, I was
Okay.
meaning while we're at the AGM, we're all listening, and then there's a voting period at the AGM. So during that voting period that we're voting, is there no way that the community members could vote at that time?
Yeah, so that's in effect already happening. We've been doing that the last couple, where the hybrid AGMs, where people online who had to have had registered, obviously, because if they're going to be voting, we have to make sure that they're a citizen. That's been occurring. So I can recall a number of times we would count or get the in-person count, and then we'd also get the online count. So that's already been happening. If there's a question of adding more time, as opposed to, we obviously had the countdown, if you'll recall, in the CHIF at the last AGM. If there's a desire to grant more time and proceed to the next thing and just kind of leave it open until a certain end time to give people more time. But the last number of AGMs have been both in person and online, with individuals participating and speaking remotely, and those individuals are also able to vote as well and have their vote counted.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I thought when we do the countdown, it was with the button that you guys gave us at the AGM. I didn't realize that people at home could be voting on their phones.
That's correct. So, or their computer, I believe, or however they were participating. Yes.
So is this not redundant then? We're already doing it?
Well, that would be up to the mover.
Okay.
So there is an opportunity for people if they are wishing to attend remotely and to vote remotely during that specific time when the events are happening live. My understanding, and I'll turn to Mr. President DeBoard, is that his suggestion is to leave that time. So no countdown. Basically, you have until 11:59 to enter your vote. So it would just allow more time for people to vote, whether it's to vote remotely. But that's my understanding. But I'll turn it over to President DeBoard.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Just to kind of hopefully address some kind of themes that kind of came across here is first off, just to Alana, you kind of went last, so I'm just going to address you first. It's not redundant in the sense that right now, if I want to vote on a motion, I need to be on my phone listening for possibly 3 hours at a time, or if there's one motion I really care about, in order to make sure that I am able and ready to vote within that minute and a half window. And so what I'm really trying to do here is to expand that window of opportunity for people to exercise their democratic right. And so I don't feel it is redundant. Some of the other themes I hear is that, we've been elected to be voted in, like we know the issues better than everyone else. And I would ask you, then what's the point of the AGM, right? All these motions have already been agreed by us, the elected officials, and voted in at the MNGAs. And, that kind of voicing that I hear basically says that the AGM is pointless and it's just us kind of celebrating ourselves. And that same theme where like I need to know the results by the end of the day. Why? The American election, not the last one, the previous one, we didn't know for a couple days. The BC election, we didn't know for a couple weeks, right? I think it's not necessary to have to know immediately the results of democracy as long as the democracy is open and honest, right? When I hear that people say that you need to be participatory, right? It's like you have to listen to these debates. I have to be able to convince you in order for you to be able to vote. You have to listen to me before you get to exercise your Democrat vote. And I say to you, it's just like, well, then imagine if the provincial election, we said, look, you had to watch a debate between our two presidential candidates in order to vote in our election. And I would say that's a tall ask, and I don't think that's the right path that we should be going down by demanding a service from our citizens in order to allow them to exercise their democratic right. And then I also hear, oh, I'm worried about people getting manipulated out there. So basically, I don't think you're giving our people enough credit, right? I think our people are smart enough to understand these issues and to try to intentionally box them out because we're worried that they can't understand the concepts that we're going through. I really don't think is fair, and I think that we should, in essence, try to get these people out there. And I also understand that, look, this isn't a perfect fix. Like people are like, we can engage in different ways. We should do town halls. Like we've been trying that. To Patrick's point, we've been running the system since 2017, and how's it working? Right? Like, I don't see a problem with trying to make improvements, even if they're incremental improvements, instead of doing full swings at the fence, right? We don't need to burn the system down. We can just try to make small improvements. And what this does is this allows people that have plans with their family, who are hunting, those type of things, to be able to come home and be able to vote on these elections, right? So, but and this is what democracy is. This is why we're voting here. But I'd hope people to kind of consider that, more people is better as far as the AGM is concerned. Thanks. Merci.
Thank you very much. I next have Women's Chairperson Carrier.
Thanks. First of all, I would just say that we don't want to necessarily use the colonial model as the benchmark for how we're going to move forward and how democracy works. I think we know enough about our Métis history that community engagement is important, and the back and forth in real time, where we come together as community and we have discussions, we have debate, we have sidebar conversations. That's really important in real time. I get that people are busy. I get there's real life. I get sometimes we can't make it. But then I think comes down to sort of maybe the community level. So, if you can't make it to the AGM, who can go in your place? I agree that we want to try to engage more, but I don't think that this solution as it is on the table actually engages citizens more. And I think in our busy lives, if somebody's off busy doing something all day and they come in and they're tired, the last thing they're going to want to do is go back and review what happened and put a vote in. So good idea, but needs maybe some tweaking. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And next up, Director Harriet.
Yeah, interesting conversation. I know that there's a lot debated about colonial ways and indigenous ways of governing ourselves. Essentially, this resolution would be governance by referendum. Everything would be referendum, and I really see a calling in. And I heard what's even the purpose of the AGM, and it's really to call people in to nation building, to discuss and hear all sides of the issue. And as things are discussed, amendments happen, understanding is built, and I think that is key to our self-government. I really think that it's an integral process of calling people in, discussing it, hearing all points of view. And I really don't want to see a move to governance by referendum. So I am again speaking against this resolution.
Thank you very much. President Allard, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, I support the intent of this 100%, and based on some of the comments I heard, I think one of a practical consideration would be the limitations of what's proposed here in regards to the time frame. So sure, that could be tweaked or considered or whatever, but one of the most unfortunate potential consequences of this would be even if it was just one volunteer leader or a regular citizen that attends the in-person AGM, participates, debates, potentially submits motions, is engaged, and can't vote at that time, and on their way back due to circumstances beyond their control, they couldn't vote. How do we deal with that? That would be extremely unfortunate for someone that engaged to miss the final window because they couldn't vote during the actual AGM when they're present. So that's just one small little example of what could happen there. I'm kind of not really believing that I'm going to be saying this, but this could potentially go to the governance committee here. I believe in it enough that I'd be ready to suggest that the governance committee has a look at this here. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. I mean, well, you did get an extra year, right? So you got to fill it up. Director Gervais, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, in my experience with AGMs and MNGAs, most people that want to vote will enter assemblies and where they can hear people debate certain stuff, and it gives them more of a joy, of getting out and being part of the vote, to be able to sit around and just make their decision there. So to vote online, it's almost like, well, it's been talked around, quite a bit here, that once the meeting's over, sort of thing, people go and do their own private thing, and they had their fill. So I'm just saying that I think it needs more work with the governance committee to be able to establish a better way to get everybody included in the nation somehow.
Thank you very much, Director Gervais. I'm not seeing any other additional hands. If there's any further discussion on resolution 4.
Question?
So I had you, I was watching you there. So yes, not seeing any other hands. We've had a couple of people speak twice. So we've had some good discussion on this. I will turn it over to Mr. Beaker for the vote on this, the roll call vote, and the necessary vote required for approval. Mr. Beaker, go ahead.
So as this resolution proposes to amend the bylaws in the Constitution, it requires 75% of votes in favor. Are we in the A's or the W's this time? I don't quite remember. Are in the A's? Let's go with the A's. Let's kick off alphabetically. Dylan Adam.
Opposed.
Tom Adams.
Opposed.
Dave Allard.
Against.
Melanie Allard.
Opposed.
Rob Anderson.
Opposed.
Caitlin Bird.
Opposed.
Joy Bremner.
Opposed.
Zev Brewer.
Opposed.
Topher Burke. Oh, it looks like Topher is frozen. Carmen Carrier.
Opposed.
Bernadette Chaboyer.
Opposed.
Alana Copeland.
Opposed.
Nicole Corson.
Opposed.
Sorry, John.
Oh, is that you, Topher?
Oh no, I cut out again.
Oh, I just heard you.
Yeah, my internet's crapping out on me. I voted opposed.
Okay, thank you, Topher. Jeff Crozier.
Opposed.
Betty Deck.
Opposed.
Sylvia DeRocher.
Opposed.
Cheryl Dodman.
In favor on principle.
Mark DeBoard.
Favor.
Kim Finlayson.
Opposed.
Deborah Fisher.
Opposed.
Paulette Flamond.
Opposed.
Rainey Gervais.
Opposed.
Dean Gladue.
Opposed.
June Graham.
Opposed.
Patrick Harriet.
Opposed.
Susie Hooper.
Opposed.
Travis Jobin.
Opposed.
Jamie Lee Keith.
Opposed.
Anthony Creelo.
Opposed.
Peter Lang.
Opposed.
Alan Lavalle.
Opposed.
Charlotte Lever.
Opposed.
Richard Lewis. Oh, Richard left. Betty Ann McDonnell.
Opposed.
Walter Minalt.
Opposed.
Vanessa Mueller.
Opposed.
Mert Servatius. Mert. Okay. Jacqueline Sanger.
Opposed.
Greg Stanwood.
Opposed.
Marlene Swears.
Opposed.
Pixie Wells.
Opposed.
Anthony Wingham.
Opposed.
And I did miss one. Jaden Rogers.
Opposed.
Is there anyone present whose name I did not call? Okay. Okay, so we had 2 votes in favor, 39 opposed. Resolution does not pass.
Thank you, Mr. Beaker. If everyone just give me a moment. We are at the end of our agenda. And I don't know who set this agenda up with this aspirational 3 o'clock ending, and we're now at 2:48. Whoever did that, kudos. I'm just gonna turn over to Mr. Beaker and just see if we're able to get or have our elder or our senator ready or that can be brought in for the prayer. But perhaps I'll just let Mr. Beaker do that. But I want to thank everyone. That is the end of our business. So we will not need to return tomorrow. Everyone will have the free day. Those with all the snow, go enjoy that tomorrow. And I want to thank everyone again for another wonderful and productive MNGA. It's always a pleasure to work with this group. Certainly people that I've been around and with for a number of years now, both on your side and where I'm at right now. But I want to thank everyone. It was really, really helpful and productive. I'll just look over Mr. Beaker if we've got. President Wells, please go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you, Dave, for always, being here and being alongside us and taking us along this ride. So I hold my hands up to you, all the presidents, all of the people here from MNBC, and all of the leaders. Thank you. This doesn't happen without you.
I agree wholeheartedly. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that help set this up, and that's always much appreciated. It looks like we may not be able to reach our senator right now. Is there anyone wishing to give a closing? I don't know if Leader McDonnell, are you willing to give us a closing prayer?
Can I say a few words before we go?
Sure, go ahead, President McDonnell.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody here for taking part in this amazing meeting today. We've managed to make some very important decisions going forward that's going to affect our nation and our citizens for the future. And we were all a part of that. We bring it to our leadership, and I'm so proud of MNBC and our board of directors right now for trying to give you guys as much information as we possibly can to make these decisions. And we will continue to make sure that you guys are informed as much as we possibly can to before we bring decisions like this or any of the decisions that we have to discuss at any of the AGMs or MNGAs. In the future, we will assure that information that we can provide will be forwarded off to your communities, to your leadership. And again, thank you so much for all your inclusion and your time that you've taken out of your day and your weekend to be here with us to help move our nation forward. And also, I had a call from Mr. Glenn McCollum, sorry, president of Métis Nation Saskatchewan. He's wishing us all the best going forward. He'd like to also give everybody his gratitude and his best wishes to our whole nation, and he's looking forward to working with MNBC in the future to try to move some of our issues forward together at the national level to help each of our provinces move our things and our rights forward. And he's in full support of MNBC and the issues that we're dealing with today. So thank you guys all so much, and I really appreciate all of your inclusion today and all the hard work that you all do every day to keep your communities going and keep them thriving. We know all the things that you guys do within your community and how you keep them alive and going. So thank you very much. We would not be here if it wasn't for our communities and our citizens.
Great. Thank you for those closing remarks. Much appreciated. I will turn it over to Leader McDonnell to lead us with a closing prayer. Whenever you're ready, Betty Ann.
Thank you very much. I thought I got away. I was laughing because I didn't put my hand up once and people must have missed me. I ask everyone for their patience. I'm not someone who says the prayer consistently, so please be gentle with me. Creator, grandmothers, grandfathers, cookums, and mushums, thank you so much for being part of this meeting today. This was historic, and I'm so proud of my people in my nation that we respectfully had dialogue. We listened to one another without pointing fingers, without anger. This is who we are. This is who we need to be going forward. Creator, I thank all of those who worked very, very hard for this day. And I know there will be some who will be hurt. Please take care of them. All of today was so respectful. And again, I hope that we keep that in mind as we move forward after today. Please keep everyone who might be traveling safe and keep all of our citizens engaged and caring to hear, and us to always hear our citizens. Marcy, hi.
Well, thank you very much, Leader McDonnell. Those were wonderful words. And with that, I declare I'll look for a mover and a seconder to close, to adjourn via MNGA. I saw a hand raised, President Graham,
Second.
President Byrd, President Wells. Thank you all. I'm looking unanimous consent. I'm going to assume it, but I'm not seeing any objections as well. Can't assume anything, I guess. But yes, 5 minutes early, ahead of schedule. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll likely see most of you in the new year. Bye.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Happy holidays.
All right,
Great.
y'all have a good
Have
day.
a great weekend.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Safe travel.
Happy holidays.